We have to talk about something that happened at a Trump rally that is extremely, extremely scary and is an opportunity for us to talk about something that is scary as well that this connects to. So you may have heard of the initial story here. I'll show you the footage, but then I want to play after that a bit of an interview that Trump did in 2020 that, in light of what took place at this rally yesterday, is particularly relevant. So stick around for all of it. Let's start with just some reporting, then I'll show you the video. Associated Press reports a man at Donald Trump's rally in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, stormed into the press area as the former president spoke and was surrounded by police and sheriff's deputies before eventually being subdued with a taser. The incident Friday came moments after Trump had criticized major media outlets for what he said was unfavorable coverage and dismissed CNN as fawning for its interview Thursday with its Democratic rival Kamala Harris and her running mate Tim Walz. If you think the CNN interview was fawning, very strange. Much of the interview was just Dana Bash going, here's things that Republicans are saying about you, respond, here's a Republican attack, which is fine. She can pose those questions. It's interesting to see Harris's response and Walz's response, but that was the majority of the interview. How is that funny when you're just sort of playing devil's advocate the whole time? It was not immediately clear what motivated the man or whether he was a Trump supporter or critic. The man made it over a bicycle rack and then describes what happened. We'll show it. Given that Trump attacked the media and then this happened, I value on the part of the Associated Press always being mindful of not jumping to conclusions, but most people are reporting this as a supporter of Trump attacking the media on behalf of him, which is the assumption, and I'll update you if something changes. Here's the video. So as you can see, anarchy just sort of erupts here, where now Trump stops speaking, the crowd members are reacting, seeing someone I think most of the crowd initially thinks is a heckler, so they're going, yeah, take him down. But then we're going to get the footage of Trump saying something while this is happening that indicates Trump knows what's going on. So you get the point. They took him down. Well, look at this split screen that shows Trump speaking and also shows the footage the footage you just watched, and then pay attention to how Trump reacts once he figures out what's going on.
With the whole election, actually, in 2016 we did great, but 2020 we did much better generally. Since Kamala and the media don't want to talk about her radical record, we will. Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's all right. That's okay. No, he's on our side. We get a little itchy, David, don't we? No, he's on our side. You know what he's showing? At Butler, an amazing thing happened. You had two American flags very far.
So what he repeats twice is that's okay, he's on our side. That's okay, he's on our side. Is there more context?
Apart, held up, I think, by different cranes. They were very big flags, beautiful flags that they were waving. And as that horrible event was taking place, the wind blew the flags together and they formed a perfect angel. I don't know if we have it, but it was a perfect angel.
So no, he just stops and then gets back to whatever he was saying, and the thing he stops to address about the person being tackled by police is, no, it's okay, he's with us, or he's one of us. He's on our side is the wording. Think about that. Trump's attacking the media, from what we can tell. Attacks the media as he does in every speech. Then someone tries to attack the media physically by storming over that barrier. Police pull him to the ground, tase him, and Trump's reaction is, it's okay, he's on our side. Wow. Now, I've said this before. I think we have a really hard time fathoming the long-lasting damage that Trump's constant the constant verbal assaults on the media, the verbal attacks against the media that sometimes prompt things like this, actual physical attacks. But the destruction that's going to do to this fundamental value, I think it's really hard for us to properly articulate how long-lasting and deep that's going to be. Today, we're going to be passing 800,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Think about this, though. Now it's the home stretch to 1 million. And if all the people who regularly watch the show who aren't subscribed did subscribe today, we could be to 1 million instantly. That would be awesome. Make sure you've done it. Thank you so much. Back to the video. But remember, Lesley Stahl, some time ago, during that big 60 Minutes interview where Trump storms out, exposed what this all is about.
Do you think that your tweets and your name calling are turning people off?
No, I think I wouldn't be here if I didn't have social media.
Well,
but the media is fake. And frankly, if I didn't have social media, I'd have no way of getting out my voice.
Do you know what you told me a long time ago when I asked why you keep saying fake media?
Yeah.
You said to me, I say that because I need to discredit you so that when you say negative things about me, no one will believe you.
I don't have to discredit you.
But that's what you told me.
You've discredited you.
That's what it's all about. And I believe Lesley Stahl that at some point in private, Trump said, I have to call you fake so that whenever you report on things that are not flattering about me, my followers won't believe them to be true. Think about how twisted that is. I'm going to lay the groundwork, convincing people that any reporting, no matter how credible, about me that makes me seem worse, it must be fake news. And then that causes people, in multiple instances over the last few years, to attack media outlets, sometimes violently, reporters, and for a broader breakdown, deterioration of a core American principle that then opens up the opportunity for Trump to go after the press in a way that is extremely dangerous. I'll give you examples of what he would love to do to the press in a little bit, but more from this clip.
Yourself.
You know, I didn't want to have this kind of angry.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Well, then you brought up a lot of subjects that
Well, I said
were
I'm going to ask you
inappropriately brought
tough
up.
questions.
They were inappropriately brought up right from the beginning. No, your first question was, this is going to be tough questions.
Why?
You don't ask Joe Biden. I saw your...
My gosh, what a moment in American history that was. Back in 2020, I'm pretty sure. Well, a few other context clips before talking more about what's to come if Trump were to get into power again regarding the press. Here's Trump at a different rally some time ago.
So interesting. I watched these criminals back there, the press. Look at them. Look at how many of them. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Criminals, he says. Also saying this.
I'll tell you what. You take a look at MSDNC, how evil they are. They're evil. They're sick. They shouldn't even be allowed to do what they do because it's so corrupt. They shouldn't be allowed to do it.
I'm trying to hold in my, if you see my face, I'm trying to hold in my rant until we go through all this. And then I've read this one too many times. He rants against MSNBC and then gets to the phrase, our so-called government should come down hard on them and make them pay for their illegal political activity. Talking about one of the most prominent media outlets in America, MSNBC. The government should come down hard on them. You obviously have things like this as well.
Talk about it. Now, my people said, don't do it, sir. Don't do it. But if I don't tell you the story, you're going to read. It was front page of the Washington Post, which has lost approximately 57% of their readers over the last 3 years. It was a story in the New York Times, which is losing reader after reader. I'm happy about that. I have to be happy because they truly are the enemy of the people. They are the enemy of the people.
I really do. MAGA, please, someone out there, if you're a MAGA person or you're sympathetic to MAGA views, separate from all the arguments, because we'll keep having those. We will. But I want to focus in this segment. We won't even talk about the termination of the Constitution thing or how Trump tried to block the people's strand of power. We don't want to do any of that stuff. Just here. Defend it, please. I want you to defend this. Because we all agree we shouldn't compromise on choosing presidents who respect basic tenets of our Constitution, like the First Amendment, right? Freedom of the press. We have to have that as one of the most basic qualifications for people we put into the highest office in the land. Can we agree on that? Then, how do you defend that? Trump riling up crowds into hating all media, not just being critical or skeptical. Of course, we should be critical and skeptical of reporting and try to understand where are the facts that they're deriving this reporting from. How can I fact check them? How can I stay well informed from multiple sources? Get to the original source reporting, etc. But to call media outlets criminals because they report on things you don't like, even if you thought they were lying. Fox News, for example, lies constantly about Kamala Harris. I don't think Kamala Harris should call them criminals. I don't think she should go after Fox News, getting the government to prevent them from broadcasting that. Because we have something called the First Amendment. You're allowed to lie. It's a bummer. The only civil way you could seek accountability for lies like that is defamation. You go through that process. Trump has the right to go through that process with MSNBC. Why does he fail to? Because they're not actually lying about him. They're not actually defaming him. And he's a very prominent figure, so it's hard to win those cases. Then he says MSNBC shouldn't be allowed to do what they do. People shouldn't be allowed to report on things that he doesn't like. Then the government should come down hard on them. I come back to this a lot because really, read that our so-called government should come down hard on them, referring to a media outlet. How do you ever vote for someone who said something like that? And think about how MAGA pretends they're anti-censorship. Oh no, we just want freedom of speech. We're anti-censorship. That's why Elon Musk, woo! When we get to the contradictions with the Elon Musk talking point, but they say they're anti-censorship when it pertains to a private social media platform, but they're not anti-censorship when it actually applies to the thing the Constitution speaks about, which is the government infringing on people's rights to freedom of speech and freedom of the press. So point is, that storming of the media, the attempted attack, that credit to these law enforcement officers was stopped. It didn't happen in a vacuum. And maybe we learn more about this and it was something completely different. I always want to add that caveat because just like what we talked about with the assassination attempt, it's always dangerous to quickly jump to conclusions and start screaming at people. But that's why I showed you all these other things, because this story aside, there's this disturbing track record with Trump. And if you're a regular viewer, we've gone through this many times and you think, all right, I got it. I've seen those clips. I know he did this. But clearly, this is not cutting through. And so that's why I bring it back up a lot, and hopefully it'll motivate you all to bring this information to people that you know who are iffy on these things. Because a lot of even well-informed political people I know haven't heard of a lot of what I just showed you. The True Social post, for example, which again, I feel like is disqualifying in the sense that voters should see it as disqualifying, not necessarily constitutionally disqualifying, but it doesn't cut through, and people think he's the pro-freedom of freedom of speech and freedom of the press and First Amendment guy. Crazy. Let me know what you thought of that in the comments. If you want to get extra content daily, you can do it by clicking the join button below.